Hello and welcome back. Let's talk a little bit about MCS, CFS, and then the resulting EMF sensitivities. So like I said, MCS stands for multiple chemical sensitivities, CFS chronic fatigue, and then the resulting, most of the time, because the nervous system or the brain is already so out of whack that we also become really sensitive to electromagnetic fields. So phones, microwave, TV, AC, all kind of things. If you Google MCS and CFS, they're also interrelated usually with fibromyalgia because they can cause, or they can be triggered by viral infections or trauma, stress. I would say in my case, it was probably, not probably, the body disalignment or misalignment from the lift that I had like forever under my leg, because it constantly throws, I had scoliosis, it sends messages to the spine. Later on in my workshops and classes I took, I really learned that it's kind of like you're driving a car, you just sit in the car and you just drive. But if you have something, your nervous system or something is out of alignment in your body, which, because I don't really need the lift, I don't have it under my leg anymore, and that's the story that comes later on. But every step I had taken, even starting from childhood, maybe as a child I was still running around and not really caring much about it, but I would never just walk. It would always send a message to my brain constantly. Every step is like, oops, something is out of alignment, something is out of alignment. Then me sitting at a computer, so my pelvis, because of the lift, and like my pelvis was completely out of alignment. So I was always sitting, I was always just in pain. So that can trigger, obviously, the nervous system is constantly firing, so you become sensitive to other things. I also had mono and the resulting Epstein-Barr, which hadn't been diagnosed. That was in the year 2000. Later on, which I'm going to talk about, the physician here in the US who literally found a lot of the things that had gone wrong and misdiagnosed or overlooked. So there was a viral infection. There was also probably some injuries, I know for sure, from when I had a yellow fever, hepatitis vaccine, and I got some malaria prevention back in 1994. I'm going to talk about that in a different video because it's a crazy story that put me into a psychosis, the malaria medication, which is not rare, it happens, but anyway, so those were other things. And then the stress at work, again, I had a very stressful job. So if you Google MCS, CFS, it's a systemic thing, and you react to chemicals for just like, and to this day it can still happen, not as intense. If I'm only exposed to it like maybe one day and then the next day I can really stay away from it, I'm fine. While back then I would just be knocked out. So it literally hits me in the brain, in my frontal, probably in the putamen, because that's where toxic memory stays, and then it hits me in the brainstem, and it's like neck just locks it because the body's like danger. And from the the nervous system constantly fighting, that what also creates the chronic fatigue because you're just exhausted. But it's also just the liver can't detox. So I'm not really good with detoxing, so I always have to be careful like what I'm eating. But then it's like, is that inherited? Maybe you're gonna contemplate more in, there's so many more videos to come, so we're gonna talk about some of those topics also. Anyway, MCS, CFS, and then the EMF sensitivity. Back then, I couldn't even go into a grocery store. I would literally hold on to the cart and think, I'm gonna faint. I could feel everything. I could feel the AC, I could feel the light, I could feel the people, I could smell everything. In Germany, people like perfume, just like a lot of people south of the American border like to bath in perfume. So that for me is like the worst. It makes me sick to my stomach, get gastrointestinal issues. So it is a thing. It's like people, might laugh when someone says I have MCS, CFS, but it really is a thing. It can make us really, really sick because it does something to our nervous system. And what did I do back then? I started researching. I started reading a few books. Maybe in 2005, I could find in Germany like 2 books. Someone wrote about it, or audiobooks, because nobody talked much about it. And I joined some self-help groups, which it might work for some people. It didn't work for me because I am a person, and that's probably why I became a therapist. I'm a person, I cannot just sit there and be like, okay, I have MCS, CFS, so that's just what I'm gonna live with. I'm like, no. Okay, this is what's going on. I have to figure it out. That's just I've been like this ever since being a child. I'm like, okay, I'm not just gonna accept it. I'm not gonna let it limit me. It's limiting me now, but I'm gonna figure out. So self-help group for me was like, no, there's too much whining going on. I just couldn't do it. If it helps people, great. It is not my thing. It's like I can listen to it and I complain about it, and it's horrible. But I don't think if you constantly whine about the same situation doesn't change anything. It's just you're just spiraling downwards. So for me, I didn't want to go further down because there wasn't much further down. The next way down would have been, I don't know, but I didn't want to go further down. So I started doing my research and started studying. And that was what I spent 2005 and 2006 with. And I'm gonna make another video on some of the medications and yeah, what I changed. Thank you for listening.